the handicap street fight between Cena and Ambrose versus Orton, Kane, and Rollins.
Yeah, they're very generous in the usage of the stipulation, because first it starts out, it's just all wild, everybody going after everybody else, and then some weapons I think do just briefly get involved, but not to a great extent, and then the match kind of contains itself. I know, much to the annoyance of you, Ashton, and others, because it started looking more like a traditional tag match.
Yeah, I think what annoyed me was that they said that it was a street fight, and we started with a street fight, and then it kind of regressed to the norm, and it turned into just a regular old 2-on-3 handicap match. But as time went on, they started to really liberally use those street fight lack of rules.
Right. I mean, we had chairs introduced, tables introduced.
Singapore canes. It was awesome.
And then, so there's like this wild back and forth. Everybody's doing something. And then Kane does take charge. It's apropos that he makes this call because, as you said, he was appointed ring general by Triple H. And he calls for the cell to be lowered. Now, at this point, the heels have got all the momentum. They've driven Cena in the heel steps. They really seem to have isolated Ambrose. So they're like, all right, let's really put a hurting on him. So then they get the cell lowered. And that's when this match just hits second gear for me.
And it's so weird, too, because at the time when Kane called for the cell to be lowered, I think it was Rollins had just knocked Ambrose off the apron, and he was outside of where the cell would have been had it been lowered quicker. So I had it in my mind, oh man, Ambrose is totally going to abandon Cena in the cell. But he didn't. He rolled back in and he continued to try and win this match. And I don't think I like that, because it just seems so uncharacteristic for him to, first of all, care about winning this match when he knows that he has Rollins on Sunday in a steel cage or in a Hell in a Cell. And second of all, to come to the aid of Cena? Really? You spend all this time building it up that Cena and Ambrose have animosity towards each other, and he rolls back in to help him? Like, why?
See, dude, but I think for me, what you're missing there is it's not so much I'm going to help Cena, it's I'm going to get my hands on Seth Rollins.
But again, if we're using that logic, then why didn't he just wait until Sunday?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I think they call him, quote unquote, the lunatic fringe for a reason, because being psychotic doesn't necessarily compute with being logical. Anytime a guy like Dean Ambrose, with the animosity he has inside of him, has a chance to get his hands on Seth Rollins, let me tell you something, he's going to take it.
Then why didn't he take it earlier when Rollins was standing across the ring from him telling him he wasn't going to do anything?
Well, technically he did. He tried to at the end of the segment when he swung the chair.
Yeah, at the very end of the segment, after Mick Foley had left the ring, Rollins was walking up the steps. He got into the ring, and this was all before Foley even showed up, and Ambrose just stood there and watched. If he is this seething that he would rather get in there in a 3-on-2 match in a Hell in a Cell just to get his hands on Rollins, despite the fact that he knows that he has Rollins on Sunday in that structure 1-on-1, then why was he not that red with anger and fury earlier on in the night when he had Rollins 1-on-1 right there in the ring?
Maybe he's an opportunist more than we think. He saw the cell closing, knew that there wasn't going to be any outside interference with security or anything else. He just had to neutralize the other two guys. And he had Cena with him as a partner, so it wasn't even like he was going in alone. He thought, okay, maybe I can get it, if only for a moment, between me and Rollins with this cell around us. I don't know. I see that you don't like it, but the fact is, like, he is a babyface right now. It would be a real dick move to abandon a partner, even if it is John Cena, who he has his contentions with. And for me, logic and everything else be damned, it's Seth Rollins, and they're enclosed in that cell in that moment, and Dean Ambrose is just going to seize the opportunity as best as he can. That's why I feel like he opted to get in the cell. So, that was that. And then the spots...
I am going to bite my tongue, because if I don't, we're going to be here all night, so let's just continue.
All right, sounds good. And yeah, the spots that just occurred, inside the cell, I thought were really cool. We got a nice taste of what's to come, Sunday. One, particularly great spot, well, actually two, both involving Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, oddly enough, One, Dean Ambrose does his drop kick off the ropes, and it sends Seth Rollins back crashing into the cell. That was nice. And then there was another point where Dean Ambrose does a suicide dive onto Seth Rollins, and his head hit the back of the cell. Like, it looked really bad. So, yeah, they really utilized the cell here.
Whose head? Oh, Ambrose's head, yeah.
I actually said Rollins' head, because wasn't it Ambrose who did the suicide dive? So
Ambrose
Rollins
did the suicide dive, yeah, but it looked like Ambrose hit his head flat on the top of it against one of the steel structures that actually held the cage together.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, they actually utilized the cell more than I thought they would, given that, A, this was Raw, B, this was just a crazy tag match, and C, you got the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. I just wanted to kind of throw this out there. When Ambrose was emptying his bag of tricks earlier, there was a frickin' cheese grater in there. Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you, the man's deranged. He's got problems.
But he wasn't going to confront Rollins there. I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm going to...
No. Well, I'm going to be the big problem. I'm going to bite my tongue. So, then the heels seem to regain the upper hand. I think Cena tried going for an AA on Rollins, but then he ends up getting choked. I don't know if that was before or after the cell was lowered. See, everything became a blur because everything got so crazy. But what I do know is it came down to Ambrose and Orton. And Ambrose tried doing his rebound lariat, one of my favorite moves in his repertoire. But Orton ducks. He gets the RKO, and he gets the pin for the team. Orton was just the freaking shooting star tonight with how much he was featured and getting the winning pin. But then Benedict Rollins comes in out of nowhere and hits the curb stomp on Orton. What the heck?
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. It's like, oh, glad we got the win. Here's what I really think about you, guy. Oh my God, douchebag Rollins. So yeah, like that's really why I hinted at earlier. We kept saying like, what happened at the end of the night? What happened at the end of the night? The fact that Randy Orton ate canvas that way makes me believe that he's going to beat Cena Sunday and be really sympathetic going into the future program with Lesnar. And who knows, Ashton, Rollins may screw him out of the championship the same way he did Cena. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they're going to let him. I don't think that the WWE is going to make it seem like Lesnar needed Rollins to beat Orton.
Right.
So I don't think that'll happen. I guess we'll see though, because you never know. If they do it right, if they do the build up right, they might convince us that Orton is a legitimate opponent for Lesnar. But until they do it, I'm not going to believe it. It's like I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. I'm right there with you. God, I want that match to happen, but we'll see. We'll see. And with that said, this was Monday Night Raw. Oh, yeah.
Whoa. You didn't address the most mystifying event that happened the entire night.
Was it Rollins standing atop the cell?
How in the blue hell did he get on top of that cell?
So quickly. I know. Maybe there was some kind of lift or something that we missed.
Are you sure he's not just a wizard?
That's also a distinct possibility.
Alternatively, it could be the CrossFit. He is obsessed with that.
That's true. That is true.
Do we know if Seth Rollins has been in contact with John Morrison recently? It could have also been parkour.
Oh my God, don't even blow my mind right now with that combination.
Don't tell me anything about mine's getting blown. Mine was blown when I saw Rollins standing atop of the cage literally 2 seconds after he curb stomped Randy Orton's head into the canvas.
I guess he was that fearful of getting RKO'd in response and he just wanted to...
He was like a friggin' scared cat. He didn't even logic his way to the top of that cage. He just scurried up there and hoped that things worked out. And it did.
Yeah, it's like, curb stop. Yeah! Feel it. Oh, crap, I curb stopped Orton. Stop again. Yeah. Okay. This will resolve.
It's safe up here. I think I'm going to pose for the crowd. They'll hate me even more.
My sugar daddy Triple H will take care of this.
Yes.
Got my briefcase. And I loved it because you knew that I was just like jazzed up from this Raw because I'm acting like all sorts of crazy. Agent's always a good sport about dealing with me when I'm on edge, because I'm impersonating Rollins because he's beating his chest, and I'm like, I swear to God, audience, if you pay $9.99, I will get thrown off this. I will take that.
Well, yeah, and we had even established, because I said something earlier about how Rollins is that guy. He is that kind of guy he is crazy enough to take the bump off of, or at least through the middle of the cage. He's that guy. He is the Shawn Michaels of our generation. And I think that the constant Benedict Arnold moments are even further proof of that. And I mean, his first ever match, he took a bump where he fell off of the top of the ladder onto a pile of tables, which he ended up practically missing and just cracking the back of his head on. So I think it's safe to say that Rollins is going to take a huge bump on Sunday, and I couldn't be more excited for it.
I couldn't be more excited and yet more fearful for his well-being. It's going to be interesting because, I'm going to play conspiracy theorist here for a microsecond. I think WWE is banking on the fact that, yeah, we know Rollins is the architect. He's this high flyer, this opportunist, whatever, and we think back to his history the way you and I just did. B, the fact that Mick Foley shows up now, I don't know if that's just kind of like, hey, remember when I took that bump? Get ready for it to finally be replaced.
I know, right? It was such hardcore foreshadowing.
I know, dude. I'm telling you, if there is ever going to be a match, and everybody within the sound of my voice hear me, if there is ever going to be a match that makes you realize why you love the concept of Hell in a Cell to begin with, for me, that experience was Brock Lesnar Undertaker in 2002. I saw that match, I was like, holy shit. It could be this match for the new generation. I want these guys to go all out, and yes, I want that bump. So one of you's got to take it. So we're going to see what happens.
We didn't even establish that Randy Orton had yet another run-in with his number one nemesis in the WWE, tables.
Yes!
He almost got impaled by an upside-down table. And he ended up cursing at it and yelling at it and yelling, "Move, get out of the way," and then throwing it. And it just kind of harkens me back to that time when he was standing on top of the table, and then he throws a kick, and then he gets his leg caught in the empty monitor hole. And the countless amount of times where he's done RKOs onto tables where the table didn't break. And, don't forget the classic when he and Batista went for a combination RKO Batista bomb and he got his back caught on a monitor because of it. Orton versus tables, WrestleMania 31.
Yes! Yes! And I could just imagine, after he calmed down, he's like, "Oh, I'm not dead. Screw you, Mahogany. Foiled again." Oh, man.
It was so... He really took over after that point, too, which is crazy. Because, you could tell he was pissed because you heard the sound cut out, which means somebody swore, and then you looked at Randy and he had that red face that he gets when he's super angry about something, and then he says, "Move, get out of the way," and he flips the table, and then he drags Ambrose back into the ring, and he goes for an RKO, I think. He's wrapped his neck around his arm, or his arm around Ambrose's neck like he was going to hit an RKO. And then Ambrose shoves him, and then Orton shoves him into the ropes, and Ambrose goes for the rebound, and then he gets RKO'd. So that was the turning point of the match, was Orton almost getting impaled by the legs of an upside-down table.
I didn't realize the feud was that profound, and I was hyped for Orton Cena. No IKEA within a 50-mile radius is safe. But yeah, with that said, this was Raw, and I just had so much fun with it. Admittedly, I did feel the wear of 3 hours, but that was probably more of a personal thing than a product thing, because 3 hours is a long time for any show. But considering this was, and consistently is, a 3-hour show, the content here was on point. I thought this Raw was terrific. Unless you have anything else to say, we can move on to our next segment.
I don't think I have anything else to say. Seth Rollins has commitment issues. Let's move on.